Good day to everyone. My name is Jeff Glyson Pipasilan, an ACE student of Imos Computer College under the supervision of Professor Henry Aquino. Today, I'm going to show you how to disassemble and assembly of Optiplex Dell 9020. But before we begin, we have to make sure that we gathered all the materials needed. First materials that needed is screwdriver, a non-magnetic screwdriver. Secondly, just in case if we have floor mats, if we have anti-static floor mats, anti-static wrist gloves, and anti-static wrist straps. But if you don't have, you have to make sure that hold the metal of your case in order to discharge the electromagnetic interference that coming from your body in order not to damage your system unit spare parts. Now let's begin. The first thing to remove is the 8-pin power connector. The 8-pin power connector is this one, is this. Second to remove is the 4-pin 12 volts power connector. And then we need to remove the hard drive and DVD power connector. Next to remove are the SATA cable connecting to the hard drive and optical drive. Next to remove are the front USB connector cable. Next thing to remove are the front panel connector cable, which is the power switch and the power LED. Next thing to remove are the internal speaker cable. This is the speaker, and this is. Next thing to remove are the motherboard buzzer cable. This is the one connected to here. Connected to here. Next thing to remove are the RAM DIMM DDR3 4GB located to this slot. Press it down, the lock, and then remove it. Next thing to remove are the power switch on and off, located to here. This one. And then next thing to remove are the internal cooling fan, which is located here. This is the fan and this is the connector. Press the lock and then remove it. And then next thing to remove are the cooling fan of the CPU. But before that, we need to remove the connector. The connector located here. And then after that, we are going to remove now the cooling fan by using a screwdriver. And then carefully remove. And then after that, we need to remove also the intruder connector. This is the one. Now, we are going to remove also the motherboard by using a screwdriver. Now, we are going to remove the motherboard. First thing to do is to push here in order to not to damage the ports on the motherboards. Push it there on the back and then slightly push all the cable. And then carefully remove the motherboard. Please make sure that it was no damage of the spare parts by pulling out the motherboard. And after that, you can proceed now to the other parts by removing also the HDD. And after that, you can remove the power supply and also the optical drive. And that's it. That is how to disassembly the system unit of the Dell Optiplex 9020. After we finish this assembly, now I'm going to show you how to assembly of Dell Optiplex 9020. Before we begin, again, we need to use anti-static gloves, anti-static wrist strap, and anti-static floor mats to be able not to damage all the spare parts of the system unit. Let's begin. First thing to put is the motherboard. First, we need to make sure that all the cables are not the hindrance in order to put the motherboard. The same carefully put in order not to damage your motherboard spare parts, especially your CPU and others. You have to make sure that you need to push and fit of all the parts at the back of your CPU. And after that, we are going now to screw. Please take note that you need to use a non-magnetic screwdriver. And the last one is on the other side. After we screw the motherboard, next thing is your CPU fan. You have to make sure not too much screw only exact. After we put the CPU fan, we are going now to put the CPU fan internal cooling fan internal connector. Next thing to connect is the intruder connector. Next thing to connect is the internal cooling fan connector. We're connected here. Next thing to connect is the RAM DIMM DDR 4 GB. You have to make sure that it must be fit here on the slot. You have to make sure that it must be fit on the motherboard, on the expansion slot, on the slot of the DIMM. After we connect the RAM, we will put now the motherboard buzzer cable, which is this one. Next thing to connect are the internal speaker cable, where you can find it here and this one. Next thing to connect are the front panel connector cable, where the power switch and the power LED connector. But before that, we need to connect first the HDD or hard drive. This hard drive is WD, consisting of 500 GB. And then we need to put the power connector. And then the SATA of the hard drive. Now, I'm going to connect the front panel connector cable, which is the power switch and the power LED. This is the one. You need to carefully connect, because in order to not to damage all the pins of the connector. Make sure that it was exactly connected and carefully. After we put in the front panel connector, we'll proceed now to front USB connector cable. This is this one connected to here, all the front USB connector, where this one to here. After the front USB connector cable, we will proceed now to the SATA cable, where your hard drive SATA connector cable and the optical hard drive. You need to make sure that your hard drive must connected to the SATA 0, where your BIOS boot priority. Next thing is your optical drive. I will put it on the SATA 2, where it is near from your optical drive. Next thing to connect are your hard drive and DVD power connector. We're located here and here. This is one. Next thing to connect are the power 4-pin 12 volts power connector. This is this one, connected to the power supply. And then your 8-pin power connector. And that's it. We already assembled the Dell Optiplex 9020. After you finish connecting, you have to make sure that all are connected, all your peripherals device. And that's it. We already finished. Now we are going to close, and then it's ready use now, the Dell Optiplex 9020. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.